fast. The month of Ummah is approaching us as we prepared to absorb the light and benefits of this sacred month on Sunday the 20th.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to the online participants and the physical participants in the Zawiyah. And we are now in the last day of this retreat. And when we come to the last day, what happens is we start wondering, I wonder what time will we finish? I wonder what time will I get home? Do I need to do this, that, the other? I've got work tomorrow, I've got this tomorrow, I've got that tomorrow. Maybe even the family at home are already texting, what time will you be back? And so it's very easy for the mind to get diverted on the very last day. And the last day is as important as the first day. So we really again need to correct our intention and focus our mindset. Do we want to take maximum benefit from the sessions today? Or do we want to really let the mind wander and think that I will need to get back by a certain time? Maybe I'll ask a certain brother, what time are we finishing? All these thoughts start coming into our head. And really this is, again, it's the work of the shaitan to really divert you from taking maximum benefit on this last day. The session now will be a Muraqabah practice session and with some feedback before Zohr. And this is really the time now to do the Muraqabah and get feedback. Most certainly if you're having any kind of problems or blockages, and as has been mentioned a number of times by the various Ustad, don't make your own judgments. Well, maybe I'm being blocked because of X, Y, Z reasons. That is not your job. That is the job of the trained Ustads who can interpret any kind of vision that you have. And it's for them really to come to any conclusions. Often we block ourselves by trying to be the Ustad ourselves. So really this is really the point where we try to address any issues, any blockages, any misunderstandings, any questions that we have. Because once you leave here, then you will be encouraged to practice this Muraqabah on a daily basis, as he said. And having the opportunity now in front of senior stars to get that kind of feedback, I would certainly advise the participants to take that option. And we will have heard our blessed teacher many times saying, we are shy when it comes to giving feedback or doing good things, but not shy when it comes to committing sins or doing anything wrong. That is the time we should be shy, not on this occasion. This session will be led by Ustad Sajid, and we will conclude before the Zohr Jamaat. So we'll now again play a Naat. Again, the purpose is to get the mindset and the intention correct. Really focus on what the Naat or the nasheed meaning is, and really try to focus on the light of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, focus on the blessed gumbaz which is in front of yourselves, and really correct that intention and be ready to take the maximum benefit from this session. Jazakallah khair.
سلمت قلبي يا ربي لتغسله، رفعته لك من خوفي فأنت له، تعبت مني فكم أسرفت أتعبه، وعدت نحوك منهوكا لتحمله، الذنب يثقله والعشق يحرقه، فأين أمضي وحولي ربي خذه إليك الآن إن به شوقا يرتل في حزن انتبهت له فكل نبضة حب في ناظرة إليك ترجوك في شوق لتقبله رفعته لك قلبا ملؤه أمل يهفو لترضي أشواقي وتنزله بحثت في ليل قلبي عن سناء هدى فلم أجد غير بدر ضل منزله ورحت مستقبسا نور السماء سنا حتى أوزعه شمعا وأشعله يا ربي تعلم ما قلبي وخفقته فإن غفرت فما أحلى وأجمله
And through the salams on the year best of creation, Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Just some etiquette. We've got a huge gap at the front here. So if you could have the new brothers in particular come right to the front, please. So who's new here? The first time? Just come. You're okay there. Brother, come here. And where you see all these empty chairs here, come forward and fill them. Never seen so many chairs. So inshallah we'll be doing like our second practice of the Lataif exercise and allowing you to have your own experience, in particular with the direction and theme of the Day of Judgment. Particularly from the new brothers, I think we only heard from one in the last retreat. I want to hear from the others if there's any difficulties or anything they want to mention, if they didn't get that opportunity. Now, as the exercises progress, the actual spiritual center or Lataif cleansing process starts to shorten. So particularly on a retreat, so they will give you a little bit longer, the guided session if you like, that shortens, or we leave you after transfer, and when you connect to the teacher then you have your own experience, so that can be longer. So if there's any confusions or anything you want to mention, you can. So what I'll do is, if I hear just a little bit from the new brothers, anything that's blocking them, or sometimes we get confused with this, is it my thoughts, is it my imagination, is it my spiritual experience? So from now on we're going to ban the word imagination. Okay? What does that mean? So when it comes to relaying, so rather than I think it was my imagination, I couldn't really think, just say, look, I was thinking, so mention the stages, the cleansing part, it was difficult how you felt, there's a particular spiritual center that you had difficulty, mention that, and then I was able to follow the guided session, this happened, right? Then I think I imagined this, or I don't think it was this. That we're going to ban now. We do that at the beginning just to help you to focus your minds. Unless it's really troubling you, now's the time to mention, and so you're not in trouble during the Muraqabah. So just from the new brothers, just you want to mention How was it? This first time you're doing spiritual? You done it before?
इसे पहले
अच्छा ठीक है दो पाएगी दो. So any difficulties, or how was your last experience? So
I think some of the difficulties that I had was when it came to imagining the name of Allah, imagining it in different colours. It was quite difficult to do both of them together consistently. So when it came to trying to imagine the name of Allah, I was instead imagining things that reminded me of Allah, so perhaps the Kaaba or a masjid or something like that, to try and think of Allah in that way. And also to try and imagine different colours flowing through me could be a little bit difficult as well. So when it came to doing the Latif steps, those two things, imagining the colours and the name of Allah. Oh, to transfer itself was always a little bit difficult in the sense of, I think the guidance was to try and imagine a white outline of yourself, and I found that a little bit challenging. I can imagine maybe a vague outline of myself, and so I just proceeded ahead with that, blew into that. And when it came to to try and follow your teacher and imagine the teacher to guide you, the most I could do was imagining the voice of Hazrat Sahib saying the durood, and I just stuck to that, I think, throughout the rest of the process, just imagining him reciting the durood, and I just stuck to that.
Okay. So what I mean is, when we do the next session, I want to, everything that you mentioned now, I want you to mention that, but without mentioning the word imagine. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure.
So just try that as a practice. Because what happens is, maybe you come from a career that's a little bit analytical, so you have that mindset. Sometimes that we just need to just take that barrier, because you already have mentioned some of your experience. So when you're going through the Latai process, if you start to, the thoughts of the Kaaba start coming, you let that flow. So maybe your spirit is taking you to the Kaaba Sharif, and the process of cleansing is happening there, so you're getting the extraordinary help. So you just let that flow, rather than, oh, that's not exactly like the diagram that was shown, so this is going to be your unique, your personal journey. So you go with that flow. Now you mentioned you connected with the teacher's reciting Durood. So just as an exercise, so you mentioned the last few bits after transfer. Now go through that detail, whatever you remember, and don't use the word imagination. Okay, just try. Close your eyes if it helps.
I can't remember much. It was difficult to try to go through. So when you mentioned the stages of when you mentioned the stages of seeing the grave.
So forget about what I mentioned.
Yeah.
Now, just as an exercise, this will help with you when it comes to relaying. So I transferred A, B, and C, even if it's just a short bit, even if it's what you've just told me, without the word imagine.
Yeah. So when I transferred, the only thing I could see and continue to do was hearing.
Let me start again. Now I want to keep it positive. Okay. Not what the only thing I could see. What you saw is what you saw.
Sure.
Yeah. How do you know that was the only thing? So what happens there is you sometimes comparing yourself to maybe the other brother's experience. Oh, hold on a minute, I should have been seeing this, that, B and C. So let's turn this positive now. So what I saw, how I, not only thing. It's okay. That's fine.
So what I saw was, I heard the voice of Hazrat Sahib reciting the Durood, and I stuck to that throughout the transfer process, and it was hearing the Durood continuously.
And, did you go to the grave or anything like this? Were you in or outside the grave?
I don't think I did. Maybe for a small portion of time I saw it, but I can't remember that stage clearly.
Okay, that's fine. So the next feedback, I want you to relay in that sense, and also go through the process with that mindset. So I transferred whatever thought that comes to your mind, catch it, and go with the flow with that. So like, let's say the Kaaba Sharif comes, the Medina Sharif comes, what I don't want you doing is pulling your spirit back and think, hold a minute, I should be at this stage. Okay, so with this next stage, we're going to transfer and ask you to think about the teacher and connect. We're not going to go into any detail now. So this is for you to be mindful, be aware, and capture those thoughts that are coming. Because remember, this is what's projected. So your spirit, you will analyze, or you will experiencing it through your thought, imagination. Yeah. But I want you to just capture, just let it flow, even if it's completely different to what one thinks it should be. Does that help?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Hey, any of the other new brothers want to mention?
Assalamu alaikum. Tassin from London. So yesterday's session, I didn't have a problem seeing Allah's name with the colours coming in, and then I think I was able to transfer quite smoothly, but then everything that happened after was more so things that I was in places where I saw maybe in the presentation, or places that might have been mentioned, i.e. we should be in the grave, seeing the first trumpet being blown, but I feel like I was pushing it, i.e. if I didn't push it, I feel like I was in the same place, not moving. So even yesterday when we were doing the Lataif, before going to sleep, I transferred, I saw Hazrat Sahib, but I thought, okay, let me not think anything, but then it was just nothing was happening, and then I fell asleep.
Okay, that's fine. So, thoughts like your other colleague from London, thoughts, whatever thoughts that come into your mind, just capture those and let those flow through. So before you go into the Muraqabah now, just at least have in your mind, I want to transfer, I want to meet the teacher, I'll go to my grave, for example, and then you've already been given this all milestones, the Day of Judgment. Just keep those in mind. That's like setting your direction. Okay, so if you just sit there and aim to do nothing, let it come to me, that can keep you just there. Yeah. Sometimes, whereas if I want to head towards, the key thing is because both of you have opened the door of the connection with the teacher. That's the milestone. If you leave this retreat with the presence and with the spiritual presence of your teacher, you achieve not just the objective of the retreat to see and taste, but you also receive the objective of your path to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because that signifies the teacher's teachings. So that also has a meaning that focus on the teacher, meaning focus on the teachings. When you leave this retreat, that's the bit that's going to open up your closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by making the intentions to implement the teachings. So if you find you're not able to go further, but you have the teacher, do shukr to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala within your muraqabah, and then you can have a communication with the teacher as well. So if there's any things that you see, what happens is one of the side effects, one of the benefits of the meditative states and these stations are you can have that spiritual conversation with the teacher. You may be waiting to have a consultation with them, but with the spiritual level, you have the access. So maybe there are certain personal things you need to do mashra with. Do that with the spiritual teacher. Maybe certain things that are on your mind that are worrying you. Have that consultation. Just do not even in the Western world, just sharing a problem is peaceful. It's a solution. So this is one of the gifts that the teacher is giving you, that they're giving you their spiritual connection. So share your problem with them, just like you would do with a friend. Sometimes even with your closest friend, there are certain things you can't share. Yeah, and you're doing this with your guide who's connecting you to the Prophet ﷺ, who's connecting you to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's very powerful. Sometimes even the responses you get, you'll be profound. And how do you communicate? That's the next question. For that, so we can all try and do this before we carry on, is to have a communication with the teacher. It's not like the way we're speaking now. So don't try and bring that into imagination. It'll be what's inspired into the heart. So you bring it out. You have to push out whatever it is on your mind you present it. Whatever question you have, present it. And then sometimes this can happen as well. While you're presenting it, you're already getting the answer. Because when here, you're relying on sound waves. I'm speaking, a wave is coming, it goes into your ear, that turns into neurons, the brain processes it, and then you repeat back, and then it has to come back. This way it has to bounce back. Whereas the conversation of the heart to the heart, the spirit to spirit is very, very fast. Sometimes it's like, well, hold a minute, did I come up with that answer? Because sometimes it's already downloaded. Remember, this is beyond time and space. So experience that, and that's a beautiful gift to leave with. And this is a good time to practice. And another thing I'll mention is, when the teacher blesses us physically, take advantage of that. Ask them the questions. We all benefit. Yeah, any of your blockages, mention those, I had this issue, or whatever's mentioned. If it's obviously a very private conversation you've had, you can leave out certain bits, but that feedback, I can't emphasize how valuable that will be for each and every one of you, for you personally and for others. It's like learning to read the Quran or Tajweed. You can get as much instruction from your teacher, but until you recite back, they won't know where to correct you. You won't know. So those who are teachers, they'll understand. You'll get them to read back. Okay, no, that's where you got that wrong, do that again. Or this is how I understood to pronounce it. So this is for you to mention. So sometimes some of the brothers think, oh yeah, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala teaching. No, there's a system here. You got to, if you present it, then you'll get solutions. Does that help? Okay, everybody ready for any other pressing? Yeah, sure.
Question. There might not be a right or wrong answer, but yesterday during my journey, it kept switching from first person view to third person view. So sometimes I could see. So once I came up from the grave, I could see like this brittly soil just falling off my hand, and then at one point while I was in the plains, from a third perspective, I could see myself, and then I could see people running, angels hacking people down, and so forth. So it kept switching from first person to third person.
And that's good. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. Yeah. But one thing to remember with the spiritual level is not 2D, 3D, 4D. Yeah, the spirit can experience and see from many angles. Yeah, and just like you have the sun, and the rays can fall upon any parts of the world. Yeah, and then they can reflect back, and the rays can see each other. Does that help? Yeah, so that's actually very good. It's a good experience. You just let that flow, and sometimes you may even find yourself in the past. I don't want to confuse brothers, but you can sometimes find yourself in the present, past, and future at the same time. You may even find yourself in multiple locations. Yeah, this is very, very powerful. And each and every one of us has this spiritual power. The spirit itself is very powerful. We've been told it's beyond time and space. Multiple locations, back, forth. Yeah. Okay. So we don't neglect. Is any? Okay, just checking Zoom just to make sure there's nothing pressing. Anybody have any questions there? Okay. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. So we can maybe turn the lights off. So everybody get in their comfortable position. So there's plenty of space here. And slowly start to come into the presence. Well, as everybody starts to settle, just come into that presence. Allah Azza wa Jal is with me, seeing me, hearing me. And make your intentions that you're here and you're doing these exercises for the pleasure of Allah Azza wa Jal. Take that positive, come with that positive mindset that we are blessed just to be in the remembrance of Allah Azza wa Jal. And how blessed are we to be taught even Whether we travel, we see, we don't see, but we're given, at least given that gift of aligning our inner self towards the pleasure of Allah. We're aligning these powerful spiritual centers that Allah has given us. Align those towards Allah, they will then push you towards the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They'll be like your driving force, the driver of the car. Refresh your intentions, come into the shukr that Allah has given you this gift of the teacher, teacher's teaching. Many in the past have traveled, searched, physically, time-wise, for a teacher of the time. Without any little effort, just a little bit of yearning you've had for the truth, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you. Now's the time to do shukr, recognize. So come into your protective scars now. Everybody to themselves, Surah Fatiha once, Ayatul Kursi once, and then the 3 calls in order, and then blow in your hand and rub over your body. And just refresh the presence. And put yourself in a mindset. Bring the thought of humbleness, or anything that puts you in a state of humbleness. Be it, use your sins from the past or the present. Use the shame of bringing your sinful self in this presence. For Allah sees all, He knows all, and He's always with you, seeing you, hearing you. Do shukr, come into a state of thankfulness, despite how sinful we are. Allah Azza wa Jal keeps blessing us. One of the lower stages of shukr is to at least recognize that all these blessings are from Allah Azza wa Jal. Recognize, for that is a form of thankfulness. Come into a state of reliance, tawakkul Allah Azza wa Jal, We will do our part on this journey, but we leave the matter to Allah Azza wa Jal. We will move our hands and our arms, engage our mind and heart, but Allah Azza wa Jal, we leave it to you, for you have all power, and we will be happy with the outcome, whatever that may be. A reliance. You're coming to the starting amals, to yourself. Use these amals to connect deeper with Allah Azza wa Jal. Start with the name of Allah. Start with Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Astaghfar 3 times. Let those sins wash away. Recite through it 3 times. For it pleases Allah Azza wa Jal when you recite Durood, and His blessings upon us. Recite La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah 3 times. All might and power is with Allah. What peace it brings to the heart, knowing we are connected to the most powerful. When you have Allah Azza wa Jal, does that not burn away all the worries that we hold, all the hopelessness we keep? How lucky we are that we are be able to remember Allah Azza wa Jal. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Now refresh the presence. Every time we mention refresh the presence, come into the presence. Allah Azza wa Jal is with me, seeing me, hearing me. And with that, you feel it, you see it, but you do feel that Allah's beautiful name is above us, illuminated in white, full of nur. Allow that nur to fall upon you. Keep refreshing the presence, and imagine that nur is getting brighter and brighter, and the nur is falling upon you like a waterfall. Then gently breathe in through your nose. Allow the nur to enter travel into your head, down your throat, chest, arms, legs, all the way to the tip of your toes, to the tip of your fingers. And gently breathe out from your mouth, and as the light exits, it removes with it all the darknesses within you. All your worries, let it go to Allah Azza wa Jal. Just repeat that again. Breathe in, let the nur flow through. Gently breathe out through your mouth. Give all your worries away, all the hopelessness, the anxiety, Let it go. Why are you holding on to it? Just long, deep, steady breaths. Just stay fully focused as we go through these. Let your shoulders relax as you let go of your worries and darknesses. It's quite normal for certain sins and worries to come to your mind at this part. You just repeat the process as you give it away to Allah Azza wa Jal. Don't be disturbed, for you are connecting with the most powerful. How blessed are we just to be here in this moment, in that remembrance. Really, what have we deserved? Do we even deserve to be here? So be thankful. Let the emotion go to Allah Azza wa Jal. Release it. Refresh the presence that Allah Azza wa Jal is with me, seeing me, hearing me. Imagine the beautiful name of Allah Azza wa Jal is in red color. Now focus on the light and cleansing on the red spiritual center below the navel. Breathe in the red nur and go straight down to below the navel area. You breathe out, access from behind, energizing, cleansing the red below the navel. Fully focused as we'll spend short time on each one. Refresh the presence. Now focus on the cleansing of the orange spiritual center, location, navel, orange, navel. Same process. The beautiful name of Allah Azza wa Jal is in orange. breathe in the orange nur and focus it in the navel area. Orange navel. Again, refresh the presence. Now focus on the cleansing of the yellow spiritual center, location stomach, between the navel and chest. Yellow stomach. And again, refresh the presence. Allah Azza wa Jal is with me, seeing me, hearing me. Now focus on the cleansing of the green spiritual center, location, the center of your chest, at the level of your heart. Green chest. Refresh the presence and then come up to the cleansing of the light blue spiritual center at the level of your throat. Light blue throat. Refresh the presence that Allah Azza wa Jal is with me, seeing me, hearing me. Now come up to the cleansing of the dark blue spiritual center, forehead. As you breathe in through your nose, the light from the name of Allah Azza wa Jal in dark blue enters the front of your forehead. As you breathe out, it exits from behind, energizing, cleansing, opening the dark blue spiritual center, forehead. Again, refresh the presence. Now focus on the cleansing of the white spiritual center just above the head, white crown of the head. Again, refresh the presence. Allah Azza wa Jal is with me, seeing me, hearing me. And just like the preparation, when you breathe in, let the nur from the name of Allah Azza wa Jal come down you from the top of your head, top of your wide spiritual center, all the way down throughout your whole body, energizing and cleansing all the spiritual centers at once. Long, deep, steady breaths. Stay focused on your breathing and just let your body get lighter and lighter. Imagine, feel your body disappearing, disintegrating. Imagine your feet, legs, torso, all your body, including your hand, arms, head have all disappeared. Just your breath, spirit and spiritual centers remain. Focus on your breathing, long steady breaths. And one by one, your spiritual centers disappear. The red one's gone, orange, yellow, green, light blue, dark blue, white, all disappeared. Just your breath and spirit remain. Imagine now in front of you, straight away is your spiritual body, your vehicle or transport in the spiritual world. Even if it's just a white outline of yourself, and that's fine. Just ready yourself to take such a breath out that you blow your spirit into your spiritual body. The next few breaths, push out the breath, the golden breath of transfer. Imagine now that you are in your spiritual body. Refresh the presence that Allah Azza wa Jal is with me, is seeing me, hearing me. You are in your spiritual body. Don't worry now about what has or hasn't happened. You are in your spiritual body. Focus, refresh on the presence. Then immediately connect with your teacher, the spirit of Shaykh Ahmad Dabbagh. Do that with a thought of thankfulness. Increase that connection with your teacher by making dua to Allah Azza wa Jal to increase your connection, to increase our teacher, increase them in their connection to the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, and in turn Allah Azza wa Jal connect us to our teacher, our master Shaykh Ahmad Dabbagh. And as you do this, like your spirit are connecting with a powerful light. Such a blinding flash of light that we then find ourselves in front of the Mazar, the resting place of the teacher's teacher, Sayyidina Abdul Aziz Tabbagh Rahimullah. Straight away a lot of our spirits are, and we follow, for the teacher doesn't want thankfulness. They are thanking their teacher. We are thanking Sayyidina Abdul Aziz Tabbagh Rahimullah for giving us the teacher. For thanking creation is thanking Allah Subhanahu, the means. Sayyidina Abdul Aziz Tabbagh Rahimahullah mentions to each and every one of us about the path to Allah Azza, the process of the sheets. They ask our spirits to face towards our bodies, for the path is taking self-account, reflection. Take account of yourself while you're in this world, before it's taken account for you in the Day of Judgment. So look upon yourself before you travel further to the Day of Judgment. So we're seeing our bodies in front of us. We are seeing our hands. Will they testify against you? Our feet. We can see some of the darknesses. We can see how some of our body parts are in light and some are screaming to testify against us. For we know how we've been using our eyes, our hands, our feet. Now go deeper. Mention Sayyidina Abdul Aziz Tabbagh Rahimahullah. Reflect upon your mind and your heart. Have you had good thoughts or evil thoughts of your brothers and sisters? Do you hold pride and arrogance in your heart? Look deeper, as if you look into the body of a heart. Traits of jealousy, arrogance, you see them like sticky tar. Particularly jealousy of brothers, agitation of brothers and sisters. Sayyidina Abdul Aziz Tabbagh Rahimahullah mentions to make dua for them in this meditative state. Ask Allah Azza, quickest way to remove these feelings is to make unconditional prayer for the person that you are jealous of or agitated towards. And we will go silent now. Just go through this process of self-reflection and then travel towards and experience the Day of Judgment. Do not worry about the timeline. Wherever your spirit goes, just go with the flow and keep the teacher with you. And relate your current state with what it could be on the Day of Judgment. We will go silent. You have your own experience now. صل على سيدنا محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. Just slowly bring Druid into your hearts. And slowly with the Druid start to come back to your bodies.
صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد.
So if you can ask the other ustads to come up and help with the feedback, inshallah. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad النبي الأمي وعلى آله وسلم.
نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفر.
And so whoever wants to give feedback, now's the time to do so, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Khurram from Woking. This was my second Muraqabah, and the lataif were significantly stronger and easier than yesterday. As I started picturing all the various lataif, I imagined I was almost in a secluded room.
So just to pause you, what was the rule we made? Not to use the word
imagine.
So I was in the
room. It was an old castle, secluded room, and I could picture quite strong on the wall Allah's names as the lataif were sort of passing through me. And then after the lataif, I could visualize sitting in front of Sheikh Ahmed Tabagh, and he held my hand, and then from there we transferred to Sheikh Abdulaziz Tabagh's grave, and Sheikh Ahmed Tabagh held my hand and led me through the different qabrs towards him. And as we were about to enter, I stopped to let him in go first, and he ushered me almost to walk in side by side with him. And once we were inside, we began to make dua for Sheikh Abdulaziz Tabagh. And then someone placed their hand on my back, and as I turned around, I could see Shabriz standing behind me. And then as I looked to my left, I could see Muazzam smiling. And we were all then making dua. And we were making dua for all those who couldn't be there and those that we may have wronged. And then once we walked out from there, the scene changed to the day of Qiyamah. The sun came very close to the earth, it was very large in the sky, but we couldn't feel any heat whatsoever. And we began walking for miles and miles, and as we were walking we could see people coming up from the earth. And the people that we're walking with were all walking calmly without too much worry, until we reached Medina, and I see a sea of people all dressed in white, and there I see Brother Shaukat, and then I see my father, my mother, my sisters, and then many other brothers and sisters there are either praying or reciting the nasheeds and happy, all dressed in white. And then the vision ended.
Jazakallah. So inshallah we'll continue straight after the Zohr Salat, so online participants can also pray Zohr and be ready for the feedback to continue straight after, inshallah. So if somebody could kindly give the azan and make your rows. Jazakallah.
The Messenger of God says, if a person does not keep away from falsehood and false conduct, the Lord Almighty has no need of his fast. The month of Ummah is approaching us as we prepared to absorb the light and benefits of this sacred month. On Sunday the 20th of March, at the grand venue, Blackburn, we proudly present Ramadan Remedy, a divine prescription, a special event